This is our news, the weekend edition, and on the broadcast tonight, the health minister provides an update on the issuance of marijuana licenses. Plus, the commissioner of police addresses the handling of complaints brought against Royal Bahamas Police Force officers. And statistics show an uptick in drug use among teens.
Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Good evening, I'm Andrew Knowles, and thanks so much for joining us. Off the top tonight, one man is dead and another in hospital following a brazen day shooting in the Fox Hill area. Police are tonight on the hunt for the suspects who were able to evade capture after being pursued by officers in the moments following the shooting. Screams rang out from the Fox Hill Park as the body of the country's latest homicide victim was placed in a body bag and carted away. Police were alerted to the double shooting in the Fox Hill area around 3:30 p.m. Sunday.
The officers, once on the scene, they saw the lifeless body of a male lying in the street. Additionally, there was a second victim who was shot to the leg. He was transported to the accident emergency section of Princess Margaret Hospital, where he's undergoing medical attention.
But according to Chief Superintendent Solomon Cash, police were able to respond quicker than anticipated, as in fact.
A mobile unit from this division was on the alert and patrolling the area at the time and actually witnessed the account happening right before their eyes.
Cash says it was then that officers pursued the two suspects who were on a moped as they fled the scene. However, they would eventually elude officers.
Both suspects, they ran from the officers into bushy areas, one dropping an instrument on the scene which was retrieved by the police. Again, this investigation is early. We don't know the exact motive behind this latest homicide, but as we unravel what happened here, we'll be in a better position to update the media as to exactly why this happened.
Officers did later recover the scooter from bushes on the side of Bahamas Harvest Church. And even with the shooting happening while there was police presence in the area, Cash reiterated the force's commitment to securing the public and that this particular incident was isolated.
But what I want the members of the public to understand is that some perpetrators or suspects are relentless in carrying out acts of criminality. And it's difficult when their minds are made up to carry these acts to prevent them. But we will remain focused with our strategies to remain in these communities. In essence, we would want to prevent or minimize these type of incidents from happening.
Meantime, Grand Bahama police are investigating the circumstances surrounding the discovery of a dead man's body. It was sometime after 11 last night when police, acting on information, went to an area off Pioneers Way near Coral Road. That's where officers say they found the lifeless body of a dark male. Now, police say the man had injuries to the upper part of his body. An autopsy will be performed to determine the exact cause of death. A recent report has indicated the Police Complaints Inspectorate, which oversees the Royal Bahamas Police Force's investigations into complaints to ensure they are impartial, has been non-functional. While it is not clear whether National Security Minister Marvin Dames has appointed anyone to the inspectorate as the law mandates, the most recent U.S. Human Rights Report indicates the inspectorate has not met since September of 2017. Police Commissioner Anthony Ferguson said he could not comment on the matter and explained why.
No, I'm not going to make any comment on that. They were speaking about the Complaint Inspectorate. That's the independent body of the... I saw the newspaper article this morning, and so I shan't comment on that. That's another area.
But Ferguson did defend the force's Complaints and Corruptions branch and insists the process must be fair on all sides.
The question I will ask, wouldn't you want somebody to be fair with you if somebody's accusing you of something? And I'm sure the answer would be yes. And so we will continue to be fair to all persons who make reports and all persons who reports are made against.
Ferguson also urged those who feel they have been mistreated by officers to report their complaints to the Complaints and Corruptions Unit. The Police Act mandates that complaints against officers be addressed within 6 months, yet some have been waiting more than a year for police to address. Commissioner Ferguson admitted that people may get weary about the process, but he was confident that police will investigate all matters properly.
If you're aggrieved by any action taken by the police, you would report the matter to the police complaint unit, who I have every confidence in will investigate the matter, and where there's action to be taken, action will be taken. I think sometimes people are a little wary that the outcome of the action is not the way they would like it. But we have to understand the Royal Bahamas Police Force is no different from any other society. There has to be due process. You have to be fair to people who complaints are made, and the law is quite clear, and the procedures are quite clear on investigations of a complaint.
No licenses have been issued for marijuana products in the past 18 months. That's according to Minister of Health, Dr. Dwayne Sands, who says that as far as he is aware, permission to sell popular CBD products has not been granted. Our Jared Higgs tells us more in this report.
I am not aware of any specific license that's been granted in the last 18 months for CBD.
Sands' comments come as CBD products have exploded in popularity in stores throughout the Bahamas.
Some of them ingestible, some of them topical, some of them for shampoos and so on and so forth.
CBD is defined by Merriam-Webster Dictionary as a non-intoxicating cannabinoid found in cannabis and hemp. Unlike THC, which is known for its intoxicating effects, CBD is described as a safe, non-addictive substance with a rich history of medicinal use. However, the question is it legal in the Bahamas?
What I've said is that anybody wishing to import CBD should do so seeking permission through the appropriate health authority.
That authority, according to Sands, is the Pharmacy Council, which is an agency of the Ministry of Health. The health minister says they've received applications for marijuana licenses, but not in any great number.
I don't believe that any have been approved recently.
A search in the Popular Head Knowles group for CBD-related discussions reveals several inquiries about the substance. In a February 8th post, one user asks if CBD oil is legal in the Bahamas, and if so, where can it be purchased? Dozens of users responded, some advising of where the products can be purchased, and others advising of the gray area in the law.
We're in a peculiar spot right now because some of these things slip through and nobody pays any attention that it's CBD. Technically, legally, they ought to have particular permission to import.
Some have questioned why the sale of CBD products is overlooked by police, while others, especially young men, are routinely arrested for possessing small quantities of the marijuana plant itself. According to the Dangerous Drugs Act, Indian hemp includes all parts of any plant of the genus cannabis, whether growing or not, from which the resin has not been extracted. The resin extracted from any part of such plant and every compound, manufacture, salt derivative, mixture, or preparation of such plant or resin. Section 2.3 of the Act states that it shall not be lawful for any person to cultivate, trade in, import, or bring into the Bahamas any of the drugs to which this part applies, except a qualified person with special authority of the Minister for medical or scientific purposes, and if any person acts in contravention of this section, he shall be guilty of an offense against this Act. And while he acknowledges the proliferation of CBD products in Bahamian stores, Sands says government is not minded, at this time, to approve marijuana licenses.
We are actively trying to come up with an answer as to the direction that the Bahamas should go to then make recommendations to the Cabinet of the Bahamas. It would not be reasonable, even though we can go ahead and approve. So we're not minded at this point to have a proliferation of licenses, as it were, for importation.
Of CBD.
Of CBD or any cannabis-containing product at this point.
Reporting for Our News Weekend, I'm Jared Higgs.
In other news, Bahamas Bar Association President Khalil Parker is insisting the Bahamas can't just comply itself out of existence. Parker's comments come in response to the government's recent passage of a compendium of legislation to safeguard the country against sanctions by the international tax watchdogs. Jasmine Brown reports.
Parker says while the government seeks to meet the demands of those international bodies, the legal fraternity is suffering. The BBA president says while he agrees compliance with global standards is important, it should not be at the expense of Bahamians.
We can't just comply ourselves out of existence.
The government has passed several pieces of legislation in an effort to get into good standing with the European Union. That includes the Multinational Entities Financial Reporting Act 2018, the Commercial Entities Substance Requirements Act 2018, the Removal of Preferential Exemptions Act 2018, the Register of Beneficial Ownership Act 2018, and the Penal Code Amendment Act 2018. As a result, the Bahamas was removed from the EU's updated list of non-cooperative jurisdictions for tax purposes this week. The Register of Beneficial Ownership Act 2018 allows for the competent authority to establish and maintain a secure search system to assess beneficial ownership details for all legal entities registered in the Bahamas.
We try to engage with the government on these subjects as much as we can to reach happy common ground, but compliance has to be coherent, and it has to be with a view to making sure that Bahamian industries and Bahamian professionals are allowed to successfully carry on their professions in the new environment.
Now, Parker says their concerns have been expressed to the Attorney General's office.
We have some concerns, particularly about the manner of the regulation of the legal profession. We have recently been categorized carte blanche as financial service providers, which puts us under the regulation of the Compliance Commission, who propose to do on-site inspections with respect to the practices. We have concerns about the legal professional privilege, privacy of our clients. These are things that we are in active discussion with the AG's office. We hope that these things don't come to litigation, but if we don't have some accommodation to ensure that the obligations we owe to our clients are preserved, we will then have to deal with it in that way.
Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
The Bahamas Chamber of Commerce is calling for the government to have more consultation with the private sector before making crucial decisions, especially when it comes to the environment.
We have to, and we just spoke about this on the radio, we have to be careful when we're talking. We have to be able to stay at the table.
Deborah Deal, who is the chair of the Energy and Environment Committee for the Bahamas Chamber of Commerce and Employees Confederation, says there must be a way for the Minis administration to see more of an interest in getting the private sector's take on critical issues, particularly pertaining to the environment. She said a lot of the time those in the private sector are there for initial discussions, but aren't invited to keep track of the progress of certain projects and policies.
If we're not staying at the table, we will not find out half the things that we do, and we need to be able to know, the government needs to know that they can actually talk to us, and we will not constantly be negative. We will see the positive.
And with government recently signing a contract with Finnish technology group Wärtsilä for a new power plant at BPL's Clifton Pier Station, Deal said there's a lot of questions to be answered there.
I don't know if you saw the article that I had, that I was in, where I basically said, congratulations, kudos for actually getting this done. Where's the RFP? But, you know, congratulations on doing it, right? And again, I also said that, you know, I guess the reason that they're doing all of this is for, you know, future expansion. You know, everything is, the whole National Development Plan was based on a population of 500,000. So we don't get all the information, but we get as much as we can possibly get without pushing us away from the table.
Well, alarming statistics show that drug use among high school children is up, with new recreational methods coming on stream, making drugs easier to obtain. Our Giorgio Bain tells us more.
Dr. Novia Carter-Luki and a group of students of the University of the Bahamas are investigating the use of drugs in Bahamian society. According to the Secondary School Drug Prevalence Survey, lifetime use of alcohol is at 70%, while 13.7% of students have tried marijuana. The study also revealed that the use of edible drugs and vape is on the rise.
We have a focus group running with some students from the University of the Bahamas. And the purpose of that focus group is for us to get from children's perspective. Granted, they're 18, 19-year-olds, but we want to get from children's perspective what's going on in our country in regards to the use of marijuana. And so from that focus group right now, those children are telling us about marijuana cookies, brownie cookies, giving us stories about things in their neighborhood, talking about the ease of getting marijuana.
Another startling statistic, she says, is the 13% increase in cigarette use by high school students.
But some of the striking things that also came out of that conversation was the use of cigarettes, how easy it is to get alcohol in the country, how we need to look at those establishments that are selling alcohol or tobacco products to young children. And so that's of great concern for us right now.
However, Lukey said she is encouraged by the number of young people showing an interest in curbing drug use in the country.
Those young persons are saying, we want to be involved in the fight. We are committed to the fight, and I love the opportunity to see young persons committed to fighting this fight with us as well. Because in all actuality, young people want to hear from young people. They want to hear from their peers. So if we can get a cadre of young persons who are committed to fighting against drugs, creating the better Bahamas we want, we're on a pathway to improving our country as a whole.
The group is set to hold a forum to share the findings of the latest survey on Thursday. Reporting for our News Weekend Edition, I'm Giorgio Bain.
All right, thanks a lot, Giorgio. Still ahead tonight, the Bahamas Utilities Services and Allied Workers Union president hits back at claims by the Water and Sewers chairman. That story and more when our News, the Weekend Edition, returns.